It's the lack of real spiritual knowledge and experience, okay? Because that's the only thing that can gratify the soul. That's the only thing that can gratify the soul. And so what happens is we start looking for these things in other ways, okay? So let's take the PMO thing, okay? What did I discover? I discovered that the what really drives PMO is a conflation of two desires, okay? Man is created to create. Now think back, and anybody watching this, think back when you've built something, you fixed something, you resolved a problem, you made something with your hands. You did something, right? And what you made was really good. And you looked at it and it filled your soul with gratification. You've experienced that, right? All men have. All right. The reason it fills our soul with gratification is because we were created to create. Man is a creative being. In the scriptures we read, the first thing God reveals to us about himself is that he is creator. In the beginning, God created. It's a verb, the heavens and the earth. Oh, God is creator. Well, so are you. You're created in the image and likeness of God. It's one of the attributes that lifts us from the rest of the creation. Everything, everything, you know, operates, lives according to its nature. A dog who is a dog glorifies God because he's living according to his nature. He's living according to the way God designed a dog to live. So when the dog wags his tail and runs around and chases the ball, God is glorified. Think about that, right? Anything that lives according to its nature glorifies God because everything that God created is good. All right. Man has the breath of God in him. Okay. What is this breath of God? This breath of God, God breathed into Adam and man became a living soul. The soul is the capacity to experience the very energy, the very life of God. Okay. That's what makes man different than an animal. Now, we share attributes with the animals because we come out of the dust of the ground. We come out of that which is spoken into existence. But out of everything that was spoken into existence, we also have the breath of God. So man is of the earth, and man is of the Spirit of God, because he did the breathing. All right? But that breathing is the capacity to receive the very life of God in ourselves. So some of our being represents, uh, well, is analogous to animals. They have two lungs, they have two eyes, they have two ears, okay, just like man. But they also have that capacity to live in God and God in them. All right, that's our nature. Okay, that's our capacity. That's why man has all these problems, but the animals don't. Okay, and so what is that? Well, if God is creator, then so are we. God creates out of nothing. We create out of the stuff that is already created, but we create. Animals don't. They do things instinctively. I mean, you can still see the hand of God. Birds build nests, for example, right? But men write music, okay? Men speak. Men develop podcasts like yourself, all right? Animals can't do that. Animals can't do that. So it's a higher calling. Now, this need to create is there. Our soul desires it. And so when we create, that's when our soul is gratified. We have a need. Okay. What we are is expressed through desire. It's expressed through desire, the desires of our soul. And those desires need to be gratified. All right. Satisfaction comes when we work according to our nature, to God's grand design. I love St. Ephraim the Syrian. Now, we also have another creative desire, another creative energy, and that's the sexual. That's the sexual energy. But man's natural creative prowess and man's sexual energy have a different telos, a beautiful Greek word that incorporates both goal, purpose, and meaning, all in that one word. Okay? What happens then is this happens a lot in early adolescence. Okay? The desire to create gets pushed into the sexual desire, and two desires get tangled up. In a perfect world, the boy would have a mentor to guide him, and the father would say, or the uncle, the wise man would say, "No, son, that's not the way you live. This is how you become a man," and would guide him and teach him. But the boy doesn't have that. The boy doesn't have that. A lot of boys don't have that. And so they're facing the challenges of life, challenges that have to be met in order for the boy to learn how to become a man. They face them. They don't have any help. They don't have any encouragement. They don't have any consolation when they fail, right? That they seek escape through the PMO. Okay. So what happens is the gratification that can come through the accomplishment of real work and success that man builds is seen is sought for through the orgasm. That's what happens. That's how man seeks to fulfill that emptiness in his soul. It starts young, gets habituated. The guy starts figuring out about like 15 or 16, this is a problem because he sees now that it's holding him back in some areas. I'm going to quit when I quit high school. At that point, it's a vice. He's entrapped. Okay. And so when that video went viral, I asked everybody who called me, I said, what was it? What was it about that video that compelled you to call me? And to a man, they all said, it's what you said about misplaced desire. What you said about misplaced desire, right? And so in that class, what we do is we untangle it. We untangle it. And a lot of guys they pull themselves out of the vice is broken, they pull themselves out of the habit. I forgot what the original question was. Sorry.